Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. Hope your week is treating you well so far. Today I want to share with you a place that I truly love here in DC, and that is Rock Creek Park. Rock Creek Park is a national park here in the city. It was established by Congress in 1890, and it was actually the third national park to be established. It has over 32 miles of hiking trails. Yes, right within the District of Columbia, 32 miles of hiking trails. You heard that correctly. It has jogging and bike paths. It has picnic facilities, a golf course, tennis courts. It has a nature center and planetarium. It has a horse center, horseback riding lessons that you can take at the horse center. It has several miles of trails for riding horses, separate from the hiking trails. You can fish in Rock Creek Park in designated areas. I think between the Potomac River and Porter Street, you can fish. It also has a number of historic sites, and one of its most popular attractions, it has the National Zoo. So it provides just a wealth of resources for residents and visitors to enjoy the outdoors and, to interact with nature and to get some exercise and some fresh air without having to actually leave the city. It's a gorgeous day, and we're on the Soapstone Valley Trail, which is literally only about a 5-minute walk from where we live. And I didn't realize when we moved to DC that I would have a hiking trail like less than a 5-minute walk from our building. But we're very lucky in where we live. And so yeah, anytime that we need to touch grass, so to speak, we can come to Rock Creek Park and hike for an hour or two and almost completely forget that we live in a big city. We don't usually see a ton of wildlife. I think it's too urban a park for that, but we do often see mushrooms, and I don't know, the leaves can be pretty in the fall. We see some fish sometimes in the creek. I don't know, what else? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, plenty of birds. We saw a woodpecker a few months ago.
Yeah, and right now everything is just greening up again. And there's lots of cute little flowers blooming. Let me show you. It's also home to many plants and animals. There's a couple of endangered species that live in Rock Creek Park. Hayes spring amphipod, which is a crustacean that lives in the water, is an endangered species that lives in Rock Creek Park. And then the northern long-eared bat. I don't think that that's endangered, but it is one of those like threatened species, and that also lives in Rock Creek Park. It's home to or on the migration route of over 150 species of birds, and in general, it is an important ecosystem. It's not completely safe though. It's got a lot of invasive plants that are making life hard there for lots of native plants and animals. Invasive plants aggressively take over ecosystems. So English ivy is the one that I know is worst I don't know if it's the worst in Rock Creek Park, but you certainly see it everywhere. So all this English ivy behind me on this hillside is invasive, and Rock Creek Park is full of it, unfortunately. Just about every weekend they have volunteers come out to try and remove as much of it as possible, but it is an overwhelming task. Yeah, very sad. So a lot of our native plants and animals that depend on the native plants struggle because of all the English ivy. And what invasive plants do is they outcompete the native plants which causes a loss of biodiversity. So everything that depends on those native plants for food or habitat also suffers as a result. And the invasive plants also deplete the soil and the groundwater. So they're just bad news all around. But anyway, Paul and I have spent countless happy hours in Rock Creek Park since we moved to DC almost 9 years ago. We love hiking in Rock Creek Park. We love the National Zoo. For the most part, we hike, but obviously there are lots of great things you can do in Rock Creek Park. We see families having parties there and at the picnic facilities. We see bikers and joggers and people walking their dogs, people playing frisbee, people trail running. I don't know. It's just, it's DC's happy place when the weather is nice. Everybody goes to Rock Creek Park to enjoy the nice weather and enjoy being outside.
So we're just taking a little rest. There's this little wall by the creek that we're sitting on and looking for ducks. I see just a couple down there, but usually there's a lot of ducks around here. And this area has like picnic tables and lots of grassy space, so people often have little parties here or just like hang out here for a while on the weekends when it's nice. And this is kind of like the halfway point of our typical hike. So we like to just have a little sit down and watch and listen to the water.
I just know for a fact that DC would be a much sadder place to live if we didn't have Rock Creek Park, and its future is not guaranteed, you know, and this is true of all of our national parks in the U.S. You know, last year the Trump administration tried to cut funding to the National Park Service by over $1 billion. Which would have been absolutely devastating to Rock Creek Park and all of our national parks. You know, they're not free. They require upkeep and maintenance, and you know, rangers have to be paid, and they require administration. But they make life better for everyone. I mean, that is the thing about parks. Thankfully, the Senate rejected the Trump administration's proposed cuts, but you know, I do know that one thing the Trump administration is succeeding in doing is wiping out as much history as they possibly can from our national parks. You know, any signage related to topics that they don't approve of, such as slavery or climate change or Native American history or civil rights, they are scrubbing that language from our national park signs and historical sites. So I don't know if donations to the National Park Service can do anything about that because, yeah, that's outside of funding. But what I do know is that our national parks are worth investing in. You know, taxpayer dollars, we can't be sure that they're going to go to the things that are in alignment with our values. They may be going to a war in Iran, or they may be going to a ballroom. You know, so we the people have to take stewardship of our national parks seriously. So if you've been following my bucket list challenge for 2026, you'll know that one of the items on the list is to give your time and or your money to either a school, a library, or a park. And that's kind of the inspiration behind this video. I wanted to explain why I have decided to make a donation to Rock Creek Park specifically, because I do feel so passionately about its importance to the city of DC and about our national parks in general. I just think that they are basically priceless, and they're worth my private investment, even aside from my tax dollars. And Edgar wants to chime in on this as well. So yeah, our national parks are not out of the woods, if you will forgive the terrible pun. So if you're able to support them somehow, please consider doing so. I've also volunteered before in Rock Creek Park with, I think, the Rock Creek Conservancy to try and help remove invasive species. And I'm planning to do that again later this year. I just haven't picked a weekend to do it. But anyway, yeah, that is my pitch, I guess, for supporting a park. But again, a library or school would also be a very worthy place for you to donate money or time. And I do want to kind of provide the caveat that I hope that this video doesn't come across as me saying, look what a good person I am. I don't mean this to be like a performative, what do they call it? Like virtue signaling or anything like that. I'm well aware that there are a lot of things I could do to be a better person. And I guess this video is this video is about holding myself accountable to the intentions that I set forth at the start of the year. One of the things I wanted to do on the bucket list challenge was to donate to a school, a library, or a park. And I seriously considered DC public schools and DC libraries for my donation, but at the end of the day, my heart really belongs to nature in general and Rock Creek Park specifically. So that's the reasoning behind my choice. I really hope that you will join me in supporting either a school, a library, or a park in your area. These are places that just make all of our communities better. They make life better for everyone who lives in a given place. Even if you don't have kids, like I don't have kids, I know that when people move to a new city, one of the most important questions they ask is, what are the schools like? So, schools impact whether people want to live in your neighborhood. And parks and libraries also just make neighborhoods better. They make our communities better. So, that is my pitch. I encourage you to join me in giving generously of your time or your financial resources to schools, libraries, and parks near you. And I hope that this video inspired you a little bit to appreciate more your local park. This is the time of year to get outside and enjoy it. So, yeah, go for a hike at your earliest opportunity, because it was lovely doing that over the weekend. That's all I have for you this week. Just to give you a heads up, I might be a little sporadic in my posting in April. I've just got a lot going on this month, and I just don't know that I will be able to keep up the weekly upload schedule, but I will certainly do my best. So with that being said, I hope to see you again next Tuesday. If you want to know more about my bucket list challenge that I have mentioned in this video, the information is down in the description, along with the link to the full list of items. What this bucket list challenge is, it's just a public bucket list for the year 2026. I'm doing as many things on the list as I can and documenting them here, and I encourage anyone who is inspired by, one thing on the list or 10 things on the list to join me. It's just my way of trying to make this as good a year as possible. And one of the things on the list was to donate time or money to a school, library, or park. So that's the backstory. But yeah, check that out if it interests you. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Give this video a like, and please feel free to subscribe. I would love to see you around here regularly. And thank you so much for watching, as always. Have a great week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!